Hello, Moram here. Today I want to present to you my Landslide Poison Creeper leveling build guide for the Druid. This one utilizes the subterranean aspect you can get through the first chapter of the season. This one is added to your codex, so you can just apply it to anything you like, as often as you like. You only need the resources for this. Now this build is exceptionally fun to play. It is also very strong. You have some insane AoE clear. You can clear elite packs very efficiently. You're basically a vacuum cleaner because of a heart you can find in the seasonal content. And your single target damage is also exceptionally good. The drawbacks of this build are it's a bit on the slower side, but it's super fun to play. Now before you ask, yes, this one was bugged before the hotfix, so I slapped this one together just for your enjoyment as soon as the aspect got hotfixed, so I know what you want to know. It compares very well to the Thunder God leveling build guide as well as the Pinnacle pulverized build guide. I think all of those are exceptionally strong and just tailored to your taste. Also, it's something completely new and spicy. So I will be starting with the skill tree. We're going to pick up Stormstrike at the first level. Then we go for Enhanced Stormstrike and then we pick up Landslide. This basically is our core of this build. However, that's not everything the build entails, right? We still have our Poison Creeper a little bit later. Afterwards, pick up Fierce Stormstrike. Fierce Stormstrike will give you a chance to apply Vulnerable on hit, which boosts your damage versus elite enemies and bosses immensely. Afterwards, we are going to pick up Enhanced Landslide, which will make enemies immobilized. And then we pick up Primal Landslide. Now, Primal Landslide works only if the skill is on the bar. So you generate terror modes. On the left bottom side of the skill, you're going to see a number that's going to increase or decrease depending on if it's consumed or if it's generated. A critical strike through terror modes lowers the base crit damage of the skill from 50 to 40. Every crit strike damage increase is going to add to that 40 instead of that 50. It's not a multiplier, it's just lowering it by 10%. Now, if a terror mode is consumed, the landslide is going to critically strike. But you need to generate those terror modes by immobilizing or stunning enemies. So the best way to generate those terror modes is going to be the Poison Creeper. We are getting this one a little bit later. So early on, you're not going to crit as much. Next, you're going to go for Earthen Bulwark as well as the Enhanced Earthen Bulwark for the Unstoppable buff. This one is important to not get Chain CC'd. Next, max out your Landslide with 5 points. And we're going to pick up Poison Creeper afterwards with Enhanced Poison Creeper as well as Brutal Poison Creeper. Next, pick up Ravens as well as Enhanced Ravens. So whenever a Raven comes down and hits an enemy, those will be affected by a debuff that increases our crit strike chance by 5%, additional 5%. So basically our crit strike chance at this point is 30% without terror modes. This is important for single target damage with your landslides. And we finish up Ravens with Brutal Ravens, which give us 2 additional Ravens. Now this coupled with Stampede is going to give us 2 Poison Creepers, which will not be visible except those vines coming down and up on the earth. And you will find 4 Ravens that cycle around you and target enemies down below. This means we are having 6 companions on the board, and Shepherd's aspect scales per companion. So we have 6 times 9% because this one is on the amulet, which gives us a whooping 54% more multiplier at this point, which is just insane. Next, you want to pick up Abundance 3 points here to make our spirit generation much more smooth. This will unlock Cataclysm down below in the ultimate cluster. We pick this one up with lightning strikes, going to make enemies vulnerable when they are striking those enemies. Now, when we combine this one with the suck effect, the heart that gives you the vacuum cleaner effect, this one will then strike enemies in a specific area right in front of you. So those are stacked up, Cataclysm going to apply vulnerable to those. It's going to deal a ton of damage and you can landslide them. This will nuke enemies, elites, whatever you find in front of you. It's very strong. Next, we finish up Earthen Bulwark with innate Earthen Bulwark, giving us a damage source after Earthen Bulwark expires or gets deleted. Next, we pick up 1 point in Crushing Earth and 3 points in Safeguard to apply Fortify to our base life. Fill up our Fortify bar, which covers the regular health bar, insanely fast, especially during leveling. This will give us additional DR. Next, we're going to pick up Stoneguard, which is a more multiplier, and we get the keystone, which is Earthen Might. Earthen Might will give us a lucky hit chance to restore all our spirit, which is insane for this build, and it will guarantee critical strikes. Now, you might think that it's counter-interactive with the terror modes, but keep in mind that your regular landslides are not going to apply terror modes as often, And for bosses, this one is immensely helpful. If you do not like this, you can go with Ursine Strength, because the while healthy deals increased damage, 30% increased damage, is working despite not being a werebear. So you're basically increasing your damage by 30%. Afterwards, we want to pick up Defiance, Cycle of Life, Resonance, Natural Disaster, which are multipliers and a heal with Cycle of Life, max out Crushing Earth, we pick up Predatory Instinct, 1 point in Ancestral Fortitude, and 3 point in Vigilance. And for the last 3 points, go for Wild Impulses. So basically, after getting the Keystone, we flash out this build with passives. Next, the Spirit Boons. For the Deer, go for Wariness. For the Eagle, we are going to go with Scythe Talons, giving us additional 5% crit chance, as well as Avian Wrath, which is a 30% more multiplier to the crit damage. So when we crit, this one is then multiplied again by 30%. You can access 2 Spirit Boons when you unlock all other boons. For the Wolf Cluster, we pick Pack Leader. Pack Leader is exceptionally important for this build. Whenever we crit, we have a lucky hit chance to reset the companion abilities, which then resets Poison Creeper, and Poison Creeper then going to cast landslides around us, which then can again crit and reset the cooldown of our Poison Creeper. And for the Snake Cluster, we pick up Calm Before a Storm, which gives us a lucky hit chance to reset 2 seconds of our ultimate skill cooldown on lucky hit. So you want to pick up Wolf first, Pack Leader, then Eagle for the crit chance, then you pick up Snake for Calm Before the Storm, Deer last, and then you max out all your Spirit Boons and pick up Avian Wrath as the second. As for gems, go for Emerald Gems in the weapon, Topazes in your armor. For the hearts, go for Picanha, then for Malignant Pact, and for the force, the suck, the big suck, which is important for this build to feel really nice. Malignant Pact is a rare one, so you can possibly not get this one, but if you do, it helps with attack speed. It gives you a chance, a 15% chance, which is not dependent on your lucky hit, to restore your primary resource and will give you a shield. It's very, very strong and very nice for leveling. As for the aspect, you will find a list of all aspects and where to get them down below here. The most important ones are Subterranean, which you will unlock through the chapter 1 completion. This one is essential for this build, so get this one as fast as possible. You should be around 15 or maybe even lower when you get this one. Shepherd's aspect is next. This one gives you an immense more multiplier based on your companions, active companions, meaning your 4 ravens and 2 poison creepers if you are using Stampede. If you're not using Stampede, which is a random drop, you cannot get this one through the codex, those 2 will devalue to 3 ravens and 1 poison creeper instead of 4 and 2. Now, if you do not have Stampede, you can go for Overcharge, which can be found in a dungeon right here, Marina's Refuge, and you can use it instead. For survivability, go for Aspect of Might. For quality of life, Aspect of Mending Stone, which increases the duration of your Earthen Bulwark, and Ghost Walker, which then applies a movement speed buff and makes you able to move freely through enemies, but those 2 are not mandatory. Disobedience is again for tankiness. This one is something you want to pick up towards the end when you transition to the next world tier. And if you find it, Aspect of Aftershock is going to double your landslide damage, which is exceptionally strong. It's basically more than a double more multiplier. For the weapons, you don't want any aspect. This has the simple reason you're going to exchange your weapon regularly, maybe even every single level. So wasting your resources on those weapons is not advisable. Down below, you will find a few more notes. If you want transitioning this build to the end game, you just look up the Pinnacle Crown Slide build or the Pinnacle Trample Slide build on my channel, which has a Paragon board that can be used for this build very easily. There are 2 aspects that you need to look out for to transition into those builds, one being the aspect of Trampled Earth and the other aspect of Natural Balance. And lastly, we are going to talk about the stat priority for this build. For the helmet, go for Life on Kill. This one will make sure you are sustaining. If you do not get Life on Kill on your helmet, go for it on the totem. For the chest and pants, go for DR and Life. For the gloves, ranks to landslide, then attack speed, then crit chance. It is important to get this ranks on landslide, which will give you a ton of additional damage. Attack speed makes this build feel much smoother, and crit chance is just crit chance. It's just really good. For the boots, go for movement speed and spirit cost reduction. For the amulet, go for movement speed, spirit cost reduction, and ranks to passive like Defiance or Stone Guard, which will give you a more multiplier. For the rings, go for crit chance, then vulnerable damage, then increases to close and physical damage, then increases to while, for example, versus poisoned, and then for crit damage. This is the simple reason that your increased damage bucket is empty, and this one applies all the time. while crit damage is not as valuable early on because you're not critting all the time and you're not multiplying your increases to damage at all because it's empty, right? So that's why it's better. For the one-handed or two-handed weapon, go for vulnerable damage, increases the damage, for example core skill damage, then willpower and then crit damage. And for the totem, go for crit chance, spirit cost reduction, CDR, lucky hit and life on kill if you do not have life on kill on your helmet. So if you want to transition into an endgame build guide, go for my Crone Slide build guide or my Trample Slide build guide. Both are available on the channel, have a top tier Paragon board, skill tree, and basically everything stays the same. The only thing you are going to change is to exchange your retaliation aspect for the Poison Creeper Subterranean one. Now, if you like this video, leave a like, leave a comment if you have any questions, and don't forget to subscribe if you have not already. You can also join the channel membership or leave a donation if you have the spare coin. See you next time and bye.